Breaking, we're proud to be with Janet Mills before. We're proud to still think she's the right person for Maine. Let's make it happen. She literally dropped out and stopped campaigning, but because she is still on the ballot, they're like, oh, you need to vote for her. We still think she's the best one. It's pathetic. It's pathetic. Hello. My name is Ashlee, and welcome to my channel. Today, we are talking about how Graham Platner is officially in the general running against Susan Collins. We're going to talk about some reactions. We're going to talk about some of his controversies and reactions to his controversies. So yes, that's what we're going to get into today. Before we get into it, please like and subscribe and turn on post notifications. I'm still a pretty small channel, so if you could help me out in any way, that would be greatly appreciated. My cat, her surgery's on Thursday, so wish her luck. I think it'll be good, but I think she's gonna get all of her teeth taken out. So yeah, that's what's going on. I'm gonna make like shirts and stickers of her. I've been saying that for like weeks. I have, but fourth wall was being weird the other day, so it's gonna come at some point, because her treatment is very pricey. But anyway, that's what's going on with me. Let's see what's going on in Maine with Graham Platner. Now, Graham Platner, of course, has had a ton of controversy, and the new thing that is going on right now is reporters and everyone keep asking, like AOC, they keep just asking every Democratic politician how they feel about Graham Platner. And there are a lot of people who are like, or a lot of people before the primary that were like, well, Janet Mills is still on the ballot, because Janet Mills was still on the ballot even after she dropped out, which is so pathetic. It's pathetic because all these corporate Dems were like, oh, she's still on the ballot, like you can still vote for her. What? She's not running. She dropped out, and she dropped out because she couldn't go against Graham Platner. Now, I understand that he has a lot of controversies, and I understand why people are like, oh my gosh, like they're worried he's going to become a Fetterman. Like, listen, I understand, because I loved Fetterman when he was first running, and turns out it wasn't him at all. And it was just Annie, one of his social media employees. And I really love her. You should follow her on social media if you don't. I mean, there were other people too, but she was one of them. And now she works for AOC, I think. But anyway, so I understand that because I got a sticker for his campaign. I've since thrown that away. So I was very supportive of his campaign, and it's frustrating just how far he has fallen. And so I understand having some sort of like PTSD from that situation. But I do think that he is the right candidate to win. And I do think that it's time, like the Democrats, the corporate Democrats, the reason that they're like, the way they're playing this, and I was watching like CNN, and Adam Mockler was like on CNN, and he's like, well, I'm not going to sit here and like defend everything that he's done. And I understand that, but it's a frustrating sentiment sometimes when you have people like Donald Trump, you have people like Stephen Miller, Pete Hegseth, you have all Brett Kavanaugh, you have all of these people in very powerful positions who are literally in the Epstein files, who have literally been held accountable for sexual assault. What's his face? Hegseth, I forgot his name for a second. Hegseth has white nationalist tattoos all over his body. He just got one not too long ago while in office. So it's just like Democrats and Republicans are not held at the same standard. And I was trying to talk to my dad about this the other day. And he was like, no, they always go after the Democrats. The both sides do it. And I think that, I don't know. Like, I don't think that. I think that though people go after Donald Trump, though people go after, Pete Hegseth, it's always the Democrats. It's not like other Republicans. And there may be some, like a small group of other Republicans, but then they're called rhinos. And then, oh, they're not real Republicans. But for the Democrats, it's like all the corporate Democrats want to do is specific. It's like they want to lose, which is why they're like, oh, Janet Mills is still on the ballot. Ridiculous. It's so stupid. But I understand on the Democratic side, we want to have higher standards, but we cannot keep making sure everyone is perfect before they run, because then we're never going to have real people run. And again, I'm not if he does become a Fetterman, I'll sit here and I'll be like, yeah, I was wrong. Here we go again. Right. And Chris Rabb said something on Breaking Points the other day about how like Black progressives specifically do not have that same leeway that white progressives do, right? Because people can dismiss their past or dismiss things about them, and with Black progressives it's not always that way. And so and I do agree with that, and I do agree that that's something on the left that we need to work on. But I also would say that I think he's the best option, because he's the only option that is anti-war right now. And I know that's hypocritical, but I hypocritical for him. I understand that. But I just think that, like, if we have someone who first of all is going to help us get the Senate, second of all is willing to speak up about Palestine, is willing to speak up about issues that a lot of other Democrats are not, then we should give him a chance. And I think that with this insurgence of progressive and leftist candidates and wins, that it's a good thing that regular people who wouldn't normally, run, are running and are winning. And I think that's a great thing. And like, I've been asked this before when I say I'm really into politics. Everyone, people in my life have been like, well, would you run? I would not. No, I would not. I would not, because, I have made tons of mistakes in my life, and I don't particularly want that out in every tabloid or media. You know what I'm saying? But unfortunately, that is what happens. It's like, when you're younger, you don't shape your life around, oh, what if everyone found out about all my mistakes, And again, I'm not saying that to negate the harm that he has caused to other people, but I'm saying that because everyone has made mistakes. Everyone has done things that they're not proud of. But the people that are going after Graham Plattner are the pro-Israel group of people, right? And the woman that came out and said that he that he didn't assault her, but he never put his hands on her, but he somehow took her by the wrist or whatever. She's a Republican operative, and I'm not saying that she's lying. I think things like that can happen in relationships. I've been in relationships where it's gotten very toxic, and I made my mistakes in that relationship. And so I can believe that it happened. But he's denying it. But I also believe that she's a Republican operative, and this is her goal is to make him unelectable. That is her goal. Now, I think he has a great chance against Susan Collins. I think that he has a great chance of winning. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Hopefully he does. But I just wanted to look at some reactions on Twitter after talking about all of the discourse going on online. So this is what Graham Plattner posted after he won. He said, "I'm humbled and proud to officially be your Democratic nominee for the U.S. Senate to take on Susan Collins in the billionaire class she represents. Together we will win this setback for working Mainers. Thank you, Maine." And then down here, APAC tracker put Graham Plattner 0 and Susan Collins with shit tons of money. that she got from AIPAC. So this is another reason why I think Graham Plattner has a really good chance of winning, because like Susan Collins has been there forever, right? She's older and people are wanting new, and a lot of people know AIPAC is like oh, you're compromised. Like you're going to do the bidding of corporate warmongers, and we don't want to be on, we don't want our tax dollars going to that. And so I do think that he has a great chance of winning the general election, and I'm really excited for that. Okay, so this is Cameron Kasky. So, Plantner, if you're an independent voice, why do you vote with Donald Trump 90% of the time? Susan Collins is only bipartisan when it doesn't matter. And that's so true. And it's so funny because that was the other thing. My dad said, well, Susan Collins is kind of a rhino. And it's like, to me, Susan Collins, like, she's not like she like Graham Plattner said, she votes with Trump all the time. If I'm not mistaken, she is like the reason Brett Kavanaugh is in the Supreme Court. And she was the one who specifically was like, oh, they're not going to overturn abortion, it'll be fine. And then here we are. And so yeah, it's not like Susan Collins is a Republican. She is a conservative, and she does agree with Donald Trump like almost 100% of the time. And then so Cameron Kasky said, I cannot imagine how embarrassingly MAGA Susan Collins, who can barely talk, will perform in a debate against locked in, meticulous, relentlessly motivated Plattner. I thought that was funny. And then Kyle Kulinski, when all the drama was happening, he said, breaking, literal pedophiles in the Epstein files say Graham Plattner was a bad boyfriend to some of his exes. And that's the other one, is that a lot of his exes said, actually, I'm voting for him, and like, it wasn't that bad. And then another one was like, yeah, he had some issues, but like, it wasn't, it was never physical. And he said he has PTSD, and I believe that. And again, like, I have been in toxic relationships, and I have made my mistakes in those, and I can understand making bad decisions and not being the nicest person in relationships when you have mental health issues. I can understand that. And then Ro Khanna said, so while everyone else was not supporting Graham Plattner and being wishy-washy about it, Ro Khanna is actually like full throat supporting him, which is really cool. He said, I'm supporting Graham for Maine today because of his passion for opposing war and honest conversation about the human toll and his journey. And then the next one I have is, okay, so Democratic Wins Media. This is what I'm talking about. They said, breaking, we're proud to be with Janet Mills before. We're proud to still think she's the right person for Maine. Let's make it happen. She literally dropped out and stopped campaigning, but because she is still on the ballot, they're like, oh, you need to vote for her. We still think she's the best one. It's pathetic. And so Kyle Kulinski said, when Plattner wins the primary, Democratic Wins Media, will you support him against Collins, or are you a MAGA op? And that is the thing, is all of these Democrats, not all of the Democrats, but a lot of the like corporate Dem media doesn't like Plattner. And so they're like, well, I don't think you should vote for him. So it's like, okay, so the only other person to vote for is Susan Collins, the conservative. So you would rather lose, potentially getting the majority in the Senate and trying, maybe if they do, trying to stop Trump. But instead, these corporate Dems are like, I don't know, maybe Susan Collins is the best. It's ridiculous. And like I said before, pathetic. And then this is a fun little clip from Hassan talking about Pete Hegseth.
Like, all of these Fox News guys are like, I can't believe this is what Graham Plattner was doing. How dare he do such horrible things? It's like, dog, Pete Hegseth, the current Secretary of War, was your co-worker.
Exactly.
Okay? Pete Hegseth was literally your co-worker.
Exactly.
And was a notorious drunk rapist.
Yes. Yes. And let's not forget about Jesse Waters, who like purposely deflated his co-worker's car while he was married so he could try to hit on her. That's some creepy ass shit. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like Republicans get away with everything. And it's constantly, the bar is so low for them that they get away with everything. And nobody criticizes them. Nothing sticks on them. But when it comes to Democrats, it's like, oh, they have to be squeaky clean. And that's just never the case.
if you want to talk about Nazi tattoos, Graham Plattner's Totenkopf didn't get dinged by the military, which again is more of a diss on the military, if we're being honest. But you know whose tattoo? You know whose tattoo did get dinged? Pete Hegseth's Nazi tattoo. That's right. Pete Hegseth's Nazi tattoo is the reason why he couldn't serve as a part of the National Guard during the Biden inauguration.
Yes. And may I remind you, again, like I said earlier, he got a new white nationalist tattoo as he was the Secretary of War, Defense, whatever the hell. As he was that. As they're in a war. Okay, as they're in a war against people in the Middle East, most majority Muslim, and this Nazi tattoo is so, well, I forget what it says, but it's like a white nationalist tattoo, and it's extremely racist. And he got it during a war that he's doing. Do we not think, like, that should be a red flag? That should be like a red alarm to everyone, and yet it was barely talked about. It was barely talked about. It's insane. And then when people brought it up when he was getting confirmed, they were like, oh, well, he has Nazi tattoos. And Fox News was like, oh, they're not Nazi tattoos. It's fine. It's whatever. They're losing their mind. We can't be Christians. Like, it's insane. It's insane the level of the level of accountability that just Republicans never have to have, right? Because they don't ever have to be accountable for their actions. And it's frustrating because on the Democratic side, like, the corporate Dems will purposely undermine someone and let conservatives win, even though the conservative Susan Collins has voted for war, has wanted all of this war, has funded all of this war throughout the years, throughout the decades, and nobody cares about that. Nobody cares about the countless lives that she aided in killing. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about all the votes and all of the harmful things that she has done not to protect women. It's like they never have to be held accountable. And it's a very frustrating situation, but I'm very happy that he won the primary. I'm very happy he's going into the general, and I think he's going to win. And yeah. Well, that was the video. Tell me what you think below. I really do want to hear what you all think. I know there might be some disagreements, which I understand. It's okay. But yeah. Anyway, I will see you in the next video. I'm probably gonna take videos of Nala when she's done with her surgery, because apparently it takes like a couple days for the anesthesia to wear off. I literally took off and like canceled all my plans. I was supposed to be door knocking for Corey Bush, and I feel really bad, but I had to cancel because I was like, I need to watch her. I need to monitor her and make sure she's okay, because after like 2 to 3 days after getting anesthesia for cats, you need to like monitor them and make sure nothing is going wrong, and so I had to cancel, but I told them what was going on, but I want to, people take videos of like cats getting off anesthesia and they're all wobbly and it's really cute, so I think I'm gonna do that. So be on the lookout for that. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I love you all very much, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.